Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Inside Artesian Basketball here on WREP 15 Sports. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined as always by Lady Artesian head coach Jesse Johnson. We have not talked for a couple of weeks. We've had some illnesses, some 2-hour delays, but we're back at it here on a Tuesday night as the Artesians get ready for round number 1 of sectional play against the Center Grove Trojans. We'll talk with the coach about that contest. We'll look back to a couple of games that we have not talked about yet, including the Artesians' Mid-State Conference clinching victory over Franklin last week. Up first, so let's talk a little bit about the senior night contest against Terre Haute South. Really, the important takeaway from all that is it gave you a chance to honor the 3 seniors on this year's team.
Absolutely. We got a chance to honor Gracie Johnson, Bethany Mackin, and Abby Bauman, just, to really say thank you and to show our support for their futures in terms of, just everything that they have done for the program, especially this being my first year, everything that they kind of bought into and really just their leadership. So it was a nice night to celebrate them.
It was a good night to celebrate them. It was also a good night to get a victory over Terre Haute South, which the Artesians did pretty easily. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from the win over Terre Haute South. And there you see, before the game, honoring the 3 seniors out there on the court. And then we get right here to action, and Patience Walker starts things off with a 3-pointer.
Yep, from the very beginning, this first possession of the game where she hits that 3-pointer, I thought we started strong, both offensively and defensively, and our kids really never let up through the rest of the game.
Yeah, this was a contest at some point, as you'll see, you guys kind of stretched out almost to 30, I think, at one point in the game over Terre Haute South. Paige Dorsett there, getting you guys off to a good start.
And you can just see some of the execution and just some of the ball movement that we had that game where everybody touched the ball, everybody scored. It was just really nice to see against a team that has 2 really tough guards. And I wasn't sure, how we would respond in this game, but, I was really proud of their efforts. Here we see lots of offensive highlights. There was that one from Gracie Johnson. She had a big game. And then here's another Patience Walker triple, who she's really just coming around and finding her shot, especially in January.
She's really been playing well, really pacing you guys, and here she is again on a run out.
As a sophomore, I think coming in this year and for the first time having significant varsity minutes. She, was doing great in the beginning of the season, but she has just stepped it up another notch here lately, which we have been really excited to see. There's her sister Ashlyn from a Paige Dorsett pass. Ashlyn, a freshman, has also stepped up and really just been both offensively and defensively someone that we can count on.
You talked about the 2 players from Terre Haute South coming in. They are able to score. They ended up with some points in the contest, a lot of those late, but you guys really kind of frustrated them and made them take some wild and contested shots, probably not from in the areas that they wanted to do during the contest.
I think both of those players have the ability to score from well beyond the 3-point line and also the ability to get to the basket. And I do, just like you said, I think we frustrated them pretty early. And I was very proud of just our defensive efforts in this game. I think, late in the game we kind of maybe relaxed a little bit, and you can see, their numbers kind of rose in that 4th quarter. But, overall it was a great victory that we had, especially on senior night, against a team that plays really hard and, just has quality guards.
Right, and then you see Gracie Johnson laying there. You see the score kind of fluctuate here at one point, 20-plus points, and now Terre Haute South kind of making a little bit of a run. Things kind of got a little chaotic at the end. It looked like the officials decided they didn't want to call any fouls anymore towards the end of the game as well. And but you can see here you guys kind of pull away for the victory.
Exactly, and that's that's what we were telling our girls the whole time is just hang in there and let's finish the game. So that was a good thing.
Guys had a couple of games. One of the games that was at home was against Prairie Meridian, and that was a Mid-State Conference matchup that had to be moved or was moved just to make sure that in case we had some weather, you would be able to get it in because you guys were obviously right in the midst of the Mid-State Conference. And so it turned out to be a boy-girl doubleheader on Friday night. You guys got underway at 6, and so that had to be cool, that opportunity to be able to play there on a Friday night. You don't get a lot of those, but a lot of fans starting to filter in. Pretty good atmosphere on that Friday.
Absolutely. I think that the doubleheader atmosphere is great. You know, I had some of those at my old school. I think that this was the first one Martinsville's ever had, and so it was just a great opportunity for, you know, fans to see both the girls and the boys play Perry Meridian, and, you know, kind of get those 2 varsity wins that night. So definitely it was a cool atmosphere. I know my kids loved it, and they hope that that happens in the future.
In addition to that, you also get an opportunity to play your mentor, if you will, Mike Armstrong, on the bench there for Perry Meridian, the longtime head coach for the Falcons. So what was that like, being able to go up against him?
You know, before the game, when you know, the whole coaching staff, you know, 3 of the 4 were coaches on the coaching staff that I played for. You know, all of them giving you hugs and just saying how proud of you they are. Just for where I am right now, it's just a great feeling. And then, you know, I can't lie. Obviously, you wanna beat them, and so that was a good feeling too at the end of the game. But just people that I respect, and so, you know, just a little bit of nerves that game, but obviously it came out in our favor. So
Artesians able to get the victory over Perry Meridian. Let's take a look at some of those highlights from that Friday night doubleheader over the Perry Meridian Falcons. Game number 1 is the girls, and again, it'll be Patience Walker starting things off.
Like I said before, she's really finding her shot, kind of finding her rhythm. Here again, as she takes a layup. We just started well against Perry Meridian. I think that we frustrated them also offensively with our defense, and that's just something that, you know, obviously as a coach, you're really proud that you can execute.
You see a great start here for your ball club, and you continue to keep it going here during the contest as well, and kind of pull it on. Really got out to a good lead over Perry.
We wanted to start fast. We thought they might struggle a little bit keeping up with us in transition, which we found that was true. But again, you know, they came back, and especially that second half, and were playing hard and trying to get back into the ball game and trying to make their adjustments. But we just kept holding off. Our kids knew how big of a game this was, and they knew that, you know, to kind of stay in that first place spot in the conference, that we needed this one, and I think that shows in how they played.
This is an improving Perry Meridian ball club. They've had some pretty good games in this contest or this year as well. And like I said, you guys just really got off to a good start. Really set the tone for that weekend game as well, or for that doubleheader. How well you guys got off to the start against Perry Meridian.
Yes, I think you know, you can see Delaney Wolf's in the game. She had a bucket a little bit ago. You know, Ashlyn Traylor was in the game. We used some of our freshmen and kind of you know, subbed in and out earlier than we usually do, maybe. We also pressed a little bit, which again just kind of gets our energy going. And I think you know, when you start getting deflections and steals, or, you know, just turnovers off of quick passes from the offensive team, that really helps spark your offense. And that's something that we've talked about several times.
You guys, like I said, you'll see the conversion there by Marlena Kemp, but a big lead for you guys to start the contest. Got off to a good start offensively and defensively, and Perry starts to make a little bit of a run on you guys here toward the 3rd and 4th quarters.
I think that, you know, throughout the whole season, we have done a fairly good job of withstanding those little runs, you know, kind of roller coaster-ish, if you will, where, you know, a team's starting to come back at you, or trying to make, you know, a last-ditch effort to get back into the game. And, you know, whether we give up 6, 8 points in a row, we still kind of weather the storm pretty well, and have done a really good job at holding on to our leads.
You'll see there late, you guys are able to get the bucket there by Ashlyn Traylor, increase that lead even more, and you go on to the big victory over Perry Meridian. That Mid-State Conference win set up the showdown last week on the road against Franklin. You guys are then able to complete the sweep with the victory over Franklin, a familiar opponent, a familiar coach again for you over at Franklin as well. But you guys able to get the victory over the Franklin Grizzly Cubs. Can you talk a little bit about, first, like, what does it mean to win that Mid-State Conference with that unbeaten mark here in your first year?
Yeah, you know, it's something obviously that you want to do. You want to win the conference. You want to compete and win a sectional. You know, I think that's goals for most programs throughout the state. But, you know, this is the first year that I haven't really drilled it in my kid's head, I feel like, to say, hey, you got to win this, you got to win this, you got to win this. And so it kind of snuck up on us, for me at least, to be honest. You know, we had several conference games in a row in December, and our kids knew, you know, hey, these are conference games, they're important. This is the, you know, the next one's the most important game of the year. And so they did very well, you know, executing our game plans, each of those. But these last two games with Payne Meridian and Franklin, it kind of snuck up, and, you know, just to go undefeated and not have to worry about, you know, who was going to win or lose later in the week, you know, that became our goal the last couple weeks. And so just really proud of our kids.
You got the win over a Franklin Ball Club. And this is a team that's kind of improved. They've had a new coach over there for a couple of years now, trying to instill his program. They kind of like to spread you out a little bit on offense, do some things one-on-one. How did you guys play in the contest against Franklin?
I think we started off really slow. I probably, you know, made that known to my kids that I wasn't very happy early on. And I want to say about the second quarter, we had some foul trouble. We had some kids off the bench, and they all just brought in a spark, which was awesome. We went on, I believe it was an 18-1 run at the end of the second quarter to put us up by about 10 at halftime. And so from there on, I think we played a lot better. But yeah, you're right. You know, Franklin wanted to speed you up and kind of spread you out and dribble drive, and that's kind of opposite of what we've done to teams this year. And so that second half, we got more adjusted to the game and finished it out for that conference title.
You get the conference win there, and you finish out your first season here at Martinsville. Now things get real, if you will, because you start the sectional play, and that's really what coaches are looking at, how you're going to do in the sectional and trying to advance and all those things. And it's a very tough sectional and a very tough sectional matchup, really, if anybody's talking about the prognosticators, if you will. A lot of people picking your opponent as being the sectional champion, but if they were going to pick somebody else, it would be you guys. You have the two probably best teams or favorite teams that are going in it. Unfortunately, you're going to play in the first round. It's just the way it is in Indiana. They don't seed the sectionals. So you've got round number 3 with the Center Grove Trojans. What have those first 2 rounds against Center Grove told you or helped you with their team and your team as you get ready for tonight's bowl game?
You know, the first game, I think that our kids kind of maybe got a little scared in the first half. We've talked about that several times, about how they, you know, started well, but then just never really finished the game or kept up with, you know, the speed of Center Grove. Going and playing in the second time, we lost by 4 and had some questionable maybe calls at the end of the game that might have swayed it a little differently. But we watched that film. The kids watched it once with me commentating on it, and then I think I watched it 3 or 4 times, as well as my coaching staff. And to be 100% honest, you know, our kids played hard in that game, but we didn't play exceptionally well. And that's what we've been telling our kids is, listen, like, you go play hard, you execute the game plan, and you have just as much chance as they do. And, you know, I really believe that we have just as much chance to compete with them tonight as, you know, everybody thinks they have of advancing.
You look at this contest, like we said, it's round number 3. It's always tough to beat an opponent 3 times in a season, let alone sometimes once or twice. But for you guys as Center Grove coming in, and you watched the film, like you said, over and over again, you've got the game plans in as well. What are some key things that people can look at, or you guys are looking at, to try to make sure that you do well to be successful against Center Grove here tonight? Without giving away too much.
I was going to say, do I say it all?
Yeah.
You know, we're just going to look to play our game. Defensively, look to take away, you know, their outside shooters. They have several girls who are terrific shooters from the perimeter. We're going to look to maybe push the pace a little bit more than we have in the past couple games. But, you know, I think I've talked about it the first 2 games. We haven't shown everything that we have. So tonight, you know, it's pulling out all the stops and just, you know, see what we can do.
So what do you talk to the girls about? They've obviously been in sectional games before. Some of these kids are on the team that won the sectional championship and moved on. So what are you talking about them and getting their mindset right, what they're going to expect here tonight for the contest in the sectional atmosphere? You
know, actually, I've had to do a lot less, you know, kind of talking about our mindset than maybe I had anticipated. These girls are ready to play, and I think they're ready to beat Center Grove. You know, that's a huge goal of theirs, is to, you know, kind of come in here and win this first round, obviously move on, but it helps that it's Center Grove. And so, you know, I mean, I just have talked about our game plan and talked about what we need to do to execute, and they are 100% on board. So I'm really excited to see how they perform tonight.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it. Always join us. Good luck there tonight against Center Grove. Look forward to talking to you next week about a sectional championship.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's Artesian head coach Jesse Johnson here inside Artesian basketball. Martinsville coming up. They will battle Center Grove here tonight against Whiteland High School. as they battle in game number 2, round number 1 of the sectional over there against the Center Grove Trojans, round number 3. As always, I'd like to thank the head coach for coming in, for Jesse Johnson, along with the RTV2 students who helped produce it. I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Artesian Basketball.